So, in case you missed it, this past weekend was the largest Elestrals tournament ever, where I cleared first in Swiss, losing only to Jess, and then lost in top 4 only to Jess. I was playing a Thunder list that relied on the interaction between Zeus and Cryoblast to make it a removal spell of which both halves were good, unlike Race to the Top. Profile for that is up on Caster's Corner if you want to check it out. Profiles for the winning list are nowhere at present, but second place was Trishula. His list and Bean Soldier's list, who's the other top 4 player, are on the Elestronauts channel. In the wake of these results, people kind of assumed action had to be taken because of the top 16, 14 of them were Earth-based. So the general frustration in Elestrals right now, which I really, honestly, I am in the minority here. I do not have too much of a problem with it. Was that there is a core of like 5 Elestrals that are so far above the power level of everything else, you are probably throwing if you're not including them into your deck. And they are Astrabbit, Elichick, Viserys, Equilynx, and then maybe like Galaxy in that order, right? And in terms of runes, it's Gorgons, PTA, Shield, Tsunami, Ambro, Earthquake, Laurels, right? So by putting these like 30 cards into your deck, you've got a pretty good shot at topping before you even enter the game. And the associated Divine Rune you're playing, Zeus or Demeter, usually Demeter. I will say personally, the reason I don't have too much of a problem with it is because it smacks of GOAT, where like people are playing like the same back row and like everyone's playing a breaker, for instance. But I can understand feeling frustrated that if you want to play anything else, like the Fire Nexus deck, like Scrap, like Cybermaul, you do have to contend with these 4 or 5 Elestrals that are just going to be in everything. So this was kind of the breaking point. People kind of expected a ban list. I'm excited to see where it goes. Oh, Eddie doesn't count because Eddie's cool. If Eddie gets hit at all, I'm quitting.
Set a huge record, and I'm about to change everything.
Is Ambrosia a necessary 3 of, and should it be hit? Yes and no.
In case you were sleeping under a Taratless, we just had the craziest Elestrals tournament in our history, with 114 casters throwing down.
This tournament was
our
fucking
top 8
awesome,
was filled
by
with
the way.
incredible talent, and ultimately,
look at this
some
top
seed-
4. Trish, Bean Soldier, Jessica Robinson, Joseph Rothschild. Unquestionably the 4 best players in Elestrals right now.
Jess took the win with an amazing Earth Nexus deck that combined the power of thunder and water to keep opponents on the back foot the entire
Excuse
time.
me?
The
Kevin
clashes
couldn't
were
even win
amazing to
an
watch, and we
MBT
streamed
local.
the
I mean,
whole
come
event
on.
With full commentary. Shoutouts to Swolax and Caleb for throwing down on the mic. You can watch the tournament in its entirety with the link in the description below, and we'll be uploading every single clash over the next few weeks here on the channel. What's crazy
No,
is
Coder
our
entered
next
with
event
Bears
on
2
December
tournaments in a
14th
row, and
is
he was like,
about
why
to
didn't I
be
win
even
with Bears?
bigger. We decided to upgrade our prizing to
Up!
include a stamped Stellar Galaxy promo just for signing up.
I actually
Not to
don't want
mention
that.
2 free packs and free shipping. The prizes get even more insane once you hit top 16 with a stamped Full Art Mount Olympus, a stamped Toxion, a stamped Arcolith, and ultimately the reverse Stellar 1 of 1.
I don't want that.
This is going to be our craziest event yet, and we actually almost filled all. Months ago, we released our first limited list, which included Lavalith, Earthquake.
This list,
and
by the way,
Laurels going to
turned
one
out to be
copy
really
each.
good.
This adjustment to the game was to allow Divine decks to flourish
Oh,
and
and they
enable
did.
2 and 3 Spirit Elestrals to have a chance against the plethora of removal options.
Yeah,
Overall,
they kinda
I
did.
believe this was a huge success, as we've seen a ton of amazing decks come to the forefront with exciting
Yeah,
plays
for instance,
highlighting
here's a
cards like
cryover and getting
Argo,
owned by a guy
Arcolith,
not playing any
Waylands,
2-drops.
and many more.
Waylands!
With this
Waylands
diversity, it's
sweep!
become very clear that in
Okay,
the
these
current
are all
state of
3 cards
Elestrals,
that would not have
there
been
are
played
2
at all without
elements
those
that
limits.
stand above the rest, Earth and Thunder, and they've done so
True.
for quite a long time. Both
Literally
of these
true.
elements feature a consistency and power level that other decks struggle to keep up with. And
Also
that,
true.
in conjunction with a limited card pool, since we're only 3 sets into the game, has resulted in a metagame that strongly favors 2 particular deck types.
Yep.
I have a vision for Elestrals, and my intention is to make the best and most fun trading card game in the entire world.
I have a vision for
believe
Elestrals, and it's to make
is at
Earth
its
the best
when
deck.
Players can explore any of our 8 elements and find success. And I'm going to be implementing some significant changes to the game
No,
to
come on.
allow for this
Don't
to be
do
the
it.
case in both the short and the
Don't
long
do it.
term. Before I do that, I want to emphasize a few key points. Changes to the game are never permanent. It's always possible we reevaluate cards at a later time, when a
Oh,
metagame
these are
has
going to be
evolved.
bad.
And
He would
most
not be leading
importantly,
with,
as
we're not
new
going to do
cards
this
enter the
forever if
card
it wasn't
pool,
going to be
new
like
possibilities
crazy.
exist. I fully expect a few of the limited cards today to come off the list in the future based on our internal testing. I definitely understand the importance of letting a metagame develop, and my intention
All right,
is not
here's my forecast. Here's my forecast. Mudlet semi-limit, no further changes.
to just hit the strongest deck just because. Earth and Thunder have been the strongest deck since Elestrals released with base set.
That's
and
true.
I believe that with our current 4-month release cycle for
Here's the actual problem. No set has been as good as base set yet. They've all been more interesting. They've all been more engaging. The cards have been cooler, but they have not been more powerful than the shit that's in base set.
new sets, which ultimately equates to 3 sets per year, there's a really good opportunity for us to look at tweaks to the game in 2-month increments. For example,
Okay,
we're
2-month
releasing a
ban
limited
list?
list right
That's
now.
so
Moonrise
quick.
becomes legal on February 1st, effectively shaking up the metagame. And if we're looking to make another adjustment to the metagame, it would come around April 1st. This doesn't mean we'll definitely do a list. And it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
mean
So, good. This is what I requested in the Twitter thread where he was asking for feedback about it, where it's set release, 2 months, ban list, 2 months, set release, 2 months, ban list, 2 months. So that's 3 ban lists a year, 3 set releases a year.
we won't address something egregious. It's just meant to serve as a general time frame to ensure the metagame can remain fresh and exciting for players. One of the biggest complaints I hear from players about other games is how they don't communicate. So
That's
I'm
true.
doing my best to change that.
Other
I'm
games,
open about the
You sure you
decisions
don't
I'm
mean one game?
Listen, I understand that not everyone will agree with our
Jay
decisions,
Johnny!
but I encourage
Wait,
you to
that's
join
fucking, part-timer.
in healthy discussion as we work together to make the best game possible.
And that's
I'm
words!
really
I don't think
excited
that's
about
words.
these updates, and I think it will breathe even more life into Elestrals for the remainder of our Daybreak metagame, and also for the arrival of Moonrise and the amazing possibilities that are coming with the Lunar Elements full arsenal. All right, I made you wait long enough. Let's dive into the changes. The first card we'll be adding to the limited list is Equalinks.
What the fuck? This is pretty obvious. I think this one was pretty obvious. This card's insane. It's like the whole reason to play Earth. It's so outside the realm of fairness.
Equalinks is an incredible.
Okay, his name is
powerful
Equilinks, by the
that
way.
chews up
I'm sorry.
back row at an insane frequency, and combined with the stat boosting powers.
Why does he
of
have the
leader,
kid
has
streamer
become
voice? A-Drive's streaming voice is so funny because it is not how he talks. Like when I went to meet him in person, he was like, "Hey, it's me, A-Drive," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Let's record something," and we started recording. He's like, "Okay, you ready? We're gonna." Hey everyone, it's me, A-Drive, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should be doing YouTube voice more." I do a little YouTube voice. I will admit I don't talk like this in normal.
overwhelming for many decks to compete.
You
with.
should.
I do believe that.
I do in the
Equalinks is a
shorts.
card that even at one
This
copy,
set
is a
changes
place in Elestrals,
everything.
especially when combined with the in-element searcher Rummagem. But I think the
Okay, well, hold up. We're not gassing Rummagem.
other elements need some time to catch up to Equalinks' raw power.
Yeah, ban
Next up,
Rummagem so
we're
they can't
limiting
search it.
Elechick to 1 copy. During our last limit, I emphasized that I want to allow more divine usage, so
Come on,
putting
wait, hold
Elechick
up.
here may seem a bit strange.
No! Dude, I fucking quit Elestrals. Oh my god. No, this makes sense. So the thing about Elechick is that he's so fucking broken. There is an analog to Elechick in Solar. Plucky has the same effect, but swapped stats. It turns out Elechick coming down, getting exactly Zeus or Demeter, and then having the ability to immediately trade with a big guy is fucking unthinkable, and Plucky can't do that. To be honest, I'm surprised it is legal at all. I just expected them to ban this fucking guy.
I want to be upfront and say that future design space will focus around cards like Fawnlit that search for one
So Fawnlit is the version of Elechick that isn't fucking irritating. It searches one divine rune or a different card. So the concept is like you don't want to see it in the divine rune because then you go, ugh, now I found this again. So instead you can cash it in for like a Theraheart, right? That's like a feels good way to make this card. But this, as at present, does not work.
Specific divine rather than a generic searcher. This limit to Elechic is more so focused on the future of Elestrals for that reason, but in the short term, it also helps curb the power level of Zeus and Demeter combined with Elechic's frequent search. This effectively makes Elechic a 7 attacker in those situations.
He's describing the issue I'm talking about. He is just a 7 attacker that comes down. Pluggy's a 4. And then immediately gets eaten because it has 1 attack.
This next card has become one of my favorite cards.
All right, I don't actually, those are the 2 that I was like the most interested in getting banned. I have no idea what else is going to get hit, to be honest.
But I believe
maybe semi-limit Vis.
Much like its fellow Lith counterpart, Lavalith, Arcolith has become a little too game warping at the
dude!
current time. Casters are forced to play a very specific way to even have a chance against Arcolith, and it becomes so splashable in other decks that it creates a really volatile game experience. With Moonrise releasing the new rune, No Stone
Don't
Unturned,
you fucking do it.
It makes the Liths all
Don't
searchable.
you do it.
So I believe limiting Arcolith to 1 makes a lot.
No! All right, chat. Check out my 2 Arcolith Stellars. Minus 400. Yep. Can I have one? I'm selling them today. These are getting sold today. They are both getting sold today because I have the top 4 one in the mail. And if I'm only playing one, I'm going to play the one I earned. Fuck me, dude. Oh, my God. Did you buy this for 400? No. You thought I bought this for 400 a piece? Fuck no. 200, take it or leave it? I might take it. That's not bad.
As those consistency goals will be introduced in Moonrise to allow you to search for that.
No, I'm going to try and move these for 300 a piece, I think.
Continuing our limited list is Race to the Top. Race to the Top is a really fun card that allows Thunder to excel even further by being a premier removal card and a deck that runs.
Insane hit. Really unnecessary. That's not happening. Be fucking for real? Be so fucking for real? So the thing about Race to the Top is that it's bad. The whole theory of the deck that we played this weekend, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but the highest placing Thunder deck, was that Race to the Top isn't a particularly good card. Insofar as, you know, it's a 2-card combo where each individual card doesn't do anything unless you have the other card. Now, cutting against that philosophy is that Jess played this in an Earth deck and won, so...
Runs in Elements search for their stadium, Mount Olympus. I showed in our last limited list that I wanted to bring the amount of removal in the game down, and we're continuing that trend with Race to the Top. Magnaros in Moonrise, alongside the
Magnaros is going to be crazy.
Rabbit, will make Race to the Top a viable option, even at just 1 copy. And last but not least on our limited list is a card that is
There's a fucking additional limit? Back row rune.
Gonna surprise you. None other than Farrageist. Farrageist at the time sees...
What the fuck? So, just so you all know, this card is not seeing play at all. It is currently completely legal and has 0 tops total. But when Moonrise comes out, this was about to be the biggest, most stupid asshole of all time. He was about to be like Chaos Emperor Dragon levels of broken.
Is virtually no competitive play, but it looks to be one of the strongest cards in Moonrise once the full power of Lunar is unveiled. Now listen, I'm personally not a huge fan of limiting cards before they perform at events, but I do believe this is a special exception. With us limiting a lot of
this one particularly is fucking insane. And don't get me wrong, I think Bean Soldier can attest to this. That deck is still playable.
Farrageist in conjunction with the new counter rune Full Moon becomes a very easy
Why did they design this card if it was going to get hit? Well, I don't think they designed it to get hit.
Card to ascend into that can often result in a lost game state for an opponent almost instantly.
What does this card do? I legit cannot read it because of the art. Really? This Faraggeist cannot be destroyed in battle and cannot be returned to the hand by opponent's card effects. Opponents must expend an additional spirit in order to cast cards.
By limiting Faraggeist to 1 copy, it encourages the Lunar build to include Comalis and Nexus, giving the opponent more opportunity to prepare counterplay. Now, before I get to my final announcement on these changes,
It is
I
bad
want
on
to
screen.
introduce a
Okay,
brand
I
new
see.
semi-limited list for Elestrals that will limit cards to 2 copies per deck at maximum. We have one addition to this.
Fuck you! They're semi-limiting! This is Viscerus. This is the Viscerus home. Viscerus is going to live in semi-limit like Destiny Hero Malicious.
List, and much like I've mentioned in the rest of this video, I do think there's a chance
We're gonna
that
call
card
this
comes
the
off
Viscerus
in
list.
the future once more cards get added to the card pool. That card is none other than Viscerus.
All right.
Viscerus.
So we were whining about this. Viscerus is sure the blue flame, for those of you who play Yu-Gi-Oh! But the thing about Viscerus is that it's the third Viscerus that gets you. And that's not a lie. It really is the third Viscerus that gets you.
Being semi-limited to 2 is simply a frequency-focused adjustment to encourage players to use cards like Rummagem or the upcoming Ardbud to find this powerful Earth Elestral. I believe Viscerus will still be a very strong contender.
But now, of
against many
course, when you
decks.
open
This
2
change just
Viscerus,
makes
you
it
are
so you
going
only
to kill
use
yourself.
this effect once,
Previously, you were like,
giving
well,
the
there's still
opponent
one
more
in deck.
opportunities
Now
for
you will do it.
counterplay. I told you guys we're going to shake things up. A massive change to the competitive landscape for Elestrals with equal links.
2 more hits
Elechic,
left? Fuck
Arcanid,
off? What?
Race to the top, all being limited to 1 copy.
I also
Viscerus
forgot
being
about
added to a
Faraggeist.
Semi-limited list, limited to 2 copies per deck. And I want to let you guys know that these changes don't just come out of nowhere. My team has spent the last few weeks testing
Oh,
these limits.
did you
and
see
we
that?
found
That was
changes
ARG.
Don't just come out of nowhere. My team has spent the last few weeks testing these limits. and we
Exxon
found that both
Equilinks.
Earth and
That's a
Thunder are
forecast that
still
it's going to be
very
banned next
strong,
list.
Even with them. In a lot of cases, these decks would swap around a few cards for the next best options, like Galaxy or Eddie or Rummagem, and they keep on dominating. I really do believe as new sets are released and more cards are added to the card pool, that the power level
Seems
between
weird
the
that such a
elements
new
will be
game is already
closer.
getting ban
But
lists
for
like
now,
this.
I
There
hope
have
these
been
adjustments lead
2
to a
ban
more
lists total.
diverse metagame. And to be sure of that, in addition to all of the limits I have just communicated, we will also be temporarily limiting Zeus and Demeter to 1 copy each until February 1st when Moonrise becomes legal.
Oh, that's weird. They're also limiting the 2 divines for a limit that will expire upon release of Moonrise. Boy, I don't like that. But I understand it.
This means that the entire limited list will go live for December 14th and our next webcam tournament, and it will also limit Zeus and Demeter to 1 copy. However, Zeus and Demeter will be removed from the limited list on February 1st to create a new metagame with the welcome addition of the full suite of the Lunar Pantheon in Moonrise. I don't know if any other card game has ever done anything quite like this.
That may not be a plus, dog.
Announcing limited cards to change the metagame and shake it up, but telling you when it's going to come back, so that way you have an opportunity to build those decks again with new cards added to the card pool and new possibilities. Listen, I know this is a lot to take in.
That's me! Wait, hold up.
To the card pool and new possibilities. Listen, I know this is a lot to take in, and change can be difficult. It can feel uncomfortable and uncertain, but that's where the real and added to the card pool and new possibilities. Listen, I know this is a lot to take in, and change can be difficult. It can feel uncomfortable and uncertain, but that's where the real growth and excitement happens, and I'm very optimistic that these changes will breathe even more life into our incredible game Elestrals.
My
And it's
parents
gonna make
announced
these
to me they're
next
getting
few
a
months
divorce.
so much more exciting as we head
Your father and I are
towards
going to
our World
open up our marriage.
Championship.
I don't know of
Thank you so much for your
any
time,
other
and I look
marriage
forward
that
to
has
some
ever done
constructive
something
feedback
like
and discussions
this.
that are going to come from this video, and I'm also really looking forward to our next webcam tournament on December 14th, where all of these changes are going to be taking into effect. We are now limiting Equilinks, Elechic, Arcolith, and Race to the Top to 1 copy, alongside a temporary 1 limit to Zeus and Demeter, and Viscerus is semi-limited to 2.
God, it's like, what even is the best deck after this? Earth.
This is going to shake everything up, and I cannot wait to see what you guys bring to the table. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see y'all next time.
I mean, honestly, pretty big day for the deck that I'm playing. I'm going to be completely real with you. I think that the deck that I'm playing is still really good. Obviously, you only get 1 crack at Zeus, which kind of sucks, but, like, still. We'll probably play Plucky. Like, we put in 3 Plucky. We move the Viscerus number and the Elechic number around. We probably go in on Galaxy. But really big day for the deck that I'm playing. And of course, they're only on the one copy of Arc.